why I came to Michigan was probably about threefold. I've been here before, and there was like certain segments of the city that I really, really liked, and I wanted to, just reinforce my acquaintance with the city. Today I went to Greektown, and I went to the Heidelberg Project, but I came so I could eventually go to Traverse City and hopefully get on a hot air balloon. Because I met the pilot in Phoenix when he took me up in the balloon there, and he's a pilot of his own company in Traverse City, so I'm coming for that reason. And also I have two friends in Michigan. Matt, you're one of them, and Maria is the other. Maria could not make it tonight, but I like Michigan, and it's less than an hour by plane from my house. I still operate the hobby club and the collecting group, doglicense.org. I do not add very much content anymore because I have basically utilized my time and efforts to educate a global world about the history of antique dog licenses. And basically when I became a formal antinatalist, I kind of let my website lapse, and I didn't contribute any more to it. However, it's up and running, and I'm very, very proud of the website, doglicense.org. And the reason that I believe that breeding of animals, and that includes purebreds and hybrids, dogs or cats, is that there are plenty of unwanted, adoptable dogs, cats, rabbits, ferrets, goldfish, what else? Snakes, rats, mice. There are plenty of adoptable animals in shelters, and there's always a need for rehoming, like what I have done. And I will also say that there's also a need for rehoming children, whether it's by fostering a child or adoption. So there's so many needs in the world, and unwanted children and unwanted animals are just a huge entity of needs out there. And we don't need to be breeding purebreds because, logically, they're man-made dogs, and they're going to have more genetic problems. Plus, they're competing with shelter animals for homes. Hybrid animals, the breeding of hybrids, like a Maltipoo, Labradoodle, just insane. I mean, that's basically a mixed breed dog, and people like those breeds because they don't shed. Well, they may not shed, but those dogs have hair that grows every 4 to 6 weeks, so their hair has to be cut or it gets matted. So that's a heavy expense for the pet keeper. And actually hybrids, like Labradoodles, the hair grows between the paw pads, and you have to trim or shave that because it can get matted, or it actually can bring mud and water into your house. So there's just complications with every breed of dog. So in the end, you just might as well go to a shelter or a rescue, or when you go to another county, just check out their animal shelters. Or when you go to Mexico, you can bring back a dog. You can bring back a dog very easily. Same with Aruba and same with the Bahamas, and I have done so. So anytime you purchase a dog, whether from a pet store or from a breeder, you are taking a home away from a currently available dog or cat, and you might be you could be the savior for its existence. So the fact that you chose to buy a pet means that a shelter pet may die because of your decision. So it's very, very important to always adopt or rescue. this crinkling sound. I guess I was just like nervously, like, palpating it. This is a fortune cookie, and I had the custom fortunes printed, and this is many years ago with my previous YouTube channel, Childfree Diane. But I had quotes, and for example, I had 3 different antinatalist quotes in the fortune cookies, and some of you out there have received like a goodie bag in the mail of some of my fortune cookies. And for instance, one of the sayings is procreation is harmful, or procreation is murder, or something of that nature. I don't know what. Let me open one and see. No child ever consented to be placed into harmful existence. So, I'm going to have another set of these made up because these were fun. These were fun to hand out, and everybody liked receiving them as, even on the street. Even in Toronto, I visited a friend, and we handed out some fortune cookies, and it was kind of a delight to share with people. Share a cookie and the knowledge of the enlightenment. This is disappointing because there is a divide between child-free people and antinatalist people, and I wish there was more like cohesiveness. Basically, antinatalists are child-free people, or at least most antinatalists. Not all of them, and some of the more dedicated antinatalists have children. I have many friends actually that are on my groups, and that we text or we message, and they are parents, they are mothers or grandmothers, and they are regretful, and they're saddened. They love their children, but then they are very saddened by the fact that they were groomed from their youth to have children. It just wasn't anything to question, and some of them had religious convictions that persuaded them to procreate. So I really wish the child-free and I really wish more child-free people would adopt antinatalism, because it seems like it's foreign to them, and it's something that they actually reject, even though some child-free people seem to be disgusted with children, or intolerant of children. That kind of tends to be, like a prerequisite for being on a child-free group, for instance. But child-freeism and antinatalism go hand in hand, and those two groups should basically, unite, and I guess be more amicable. I've tried, delivering the antinatalist message to child-free groups, and I have actually been not received very well on certain groups. But I have a Facebook child-free group, but it's also antinatalist, because I call myself the Childfree Antinatalist. But the name of my group is Babies Are Not Miracles, which is just the fact. Babies are not miracles. And but I'm hoping that antinatalism just gains more popularity, and with that, I think the child-free people will, come to the conclusion that we don't need more births in society. That way, there will be no children to resent or to dislike or to be disgusted to be around. It's disgusting. This is America, and the majority rules. The majority is also collecting taxes from child-free people to educate their children. So I see no fairness. I see no, there's nothing just about censoring anybody, and it's just a matter of the fact that antinatalists are very, very few, child-free people are few, and the majority of people have children and make all the decisions. So the fact that we are free in this country to speak doesn't seem to apply to antinatalists. So, it's kind of a cruel blow, because when you've come to this stage in your life that you've actually accepted an irrefutable doctrine or philosophy like antinatalism, you've come to this pinnacle of like truth, and then you have so much discord and backlash and resentment and censorship. So, yeah, it's an ugly word, and it's discrimination. Censorship is discrimination. Yes, the cognitive dissonance regarding the value of animal life versus human life comes from ego, nothing more than the ego. And the article was written in a negative light to make me look like, this crazy, dog lover. But so the situation was in the city of Pittsburgh, a grandmother did not like this dog. So she set the dog on fire. The dog went inside the house, and the curtains were lit by the fire that, the dog was burning to death. And the grandmother's grandchildren, 2 little kids, actually died in the fire. And the newspaper remarked that there were 2 deaths. I wrote a letter in to the editor, and I corrected him, and I said there were not 2 deaths, there were 3 deaths. The dog was the first and foremost to die, and he died cruelly by being lit on fire. And as a turn of fate, the woman who set the dog on fire lost her 2 grandchildren as a result. Now, the editor of the article, described me as such that, this strange phone call came in from this woman named Diane and blah, blah, blah. So he was aghast that I put the importance of an animal's life at the same as a child's life, on the same plane. And I still agree to this day, whether it's a dog or a cow or pretty much any sentient being, we're all in danger of suffering. And so everybody has value because of that, and everybody has feelings. And so I heard a quote once, and the quote, or it was a saying, and it said, humans have more value than animals. Who said? Humans. So it's only humans that think that they are, above the rest. And some religious doctrines like Christianity, Catholicism, they also, place humans at a different hierarchy, but those religions also place males at a different hierarchy, and it's very misogynistic. Every religion that I know of is based on misogyny and discrimination, and also placing, humanity or male humanity above the rest, and so, discrimination. So. Well, you know, I love quotes more than anybody, and anything really. So I really, really dig quotes. And um, for the famous people that maybe are recognizable in the community, I really like Thomas Ligotti and Jim Crawford. Jim Crawford, he did Confessions of an Antinatalist, and the reason why I think he has so much power in his conviction is because he had 2 daughters. So he was a parent, and I think parents can make the best antinatalists. Here is another author and an antinatalist that I really, really am fond of. His name is Francois Trembley. A really, really easy to read book, just plain and simple. He did have a some kind of page, a web page, and he actually sold birthday cards, antinatalist birthday cards, and he did bumper stickers. Very, very cool, very brilliant person. I really like Francois. Let's see, a couple of people you may know if you're on Facebook. There is a guy named Matthew. I won't give his last name, but he's in Africa. Matthew is quite brilliant. There's another fellow. He's from Toronto, and he's going to be interviewed at the end of his video. His name is Alex, and Alex is my very favorite, and he's brilliant, and he's just he's like one of my mentors, and he's much, much younger than me. And as far as YouTubers, actually I don't get a chance to review as many videos as I would like, so I kind of lean on the people that I knew originally. And so I mean, who is original? It's Amendum, it's Amanda, it's Dana, and Matt is phenomenal. Matt is award-winning. He gives our cause just great credibility, and he's just a brilliant graphic specialist and, I mean, creator, and he's just extremely talented and brilliant. Matt has a channel called Life Sucks. Let's see who else. Antinatalist Outreach, and I've enjoyed some of her videos. I don't get a chance to view many videos on an ongoing basis because of just time constraints, and I'm also creating my own content and taking care of my dogs. And I have many old dogs now, and the old dogs are all on medication, so that kind of stretches me thin. So basically, when I've subscribed to a channel and a video pops up, or on the annual Antinatalist contest, that's when I review everything, and that's actually the only time I kind of really sit down and review the new Antinatalist, the new content creators. And Matt designed this shirt, so actually I'm the one that helped design the Antinatalist and what is the snake called? Ouroboros. Ouroboros, yes. So I kind of designed this to my liking, and I simplified it, and he printed the shirt up for me. And so, do you have any more questions?
Where can people find you online? What's the best place to reach you?
The best place to reach me is Facebook or YouTube. On Facebook, I have two groups. One's called My Shitty Parents, and the other is Babies Are Not Miracles. And of course, my channel is diANtinatalist, and I pretty much see everybody who does reply, and I try to reply once I see people's commentary below my videos. So if you do, want to contact me, giving me a reply is probably the best way to do so.
Thank you very much, Diane.
Thank you for interviewing me. This was splendid.
So I wouldn't really consider myself a activist. I'm more into just writing out my thoughts and sharing them with like-minded individuals. I just find it very interesting to discuss this philosophy because it is a very interesting philosophy and it's a very interesting take on life, and it's something that isn't really discussed as frequently as it should be. So I'm more of a writer. I just really enjoy discussing antinatalism and delving into topics that haven't been discussed yet, especially on things like cognitive dissonance, and other topics that really appeal to me are the right to die. So I just love writing out my thoughts and then letting other people read them. So I first discovered antinatalism simply through Google and simply through finding PDF literature on the works. I came across several notable PDFs that I remember. A book called Every Cradle is a Grave, which was a great read. Better Never to Have Been, and just other, and just certain authors online writing out their thoughts that really influenced me. And once that whole combination of just being exposed to that literature really shaped my views in my adolescence. So I think the right to die is a fundamentally important right, and it's one right that's very overlooked because currently it's only accessible to an exclusive group of people, which are typically individuals that are almost on their deathbeds and are in excruciating pain. So I think if anybody values human freedom, they really have to value the right to die. And if you don't value the right to die, it basically means you don't value human freedom one bit. People should be allowed to opt out of life. No matter what. Opting out of life should be accessible because being in a human body is very burdensome. You're prone to all sorts of harms. You're prone to cancer. You're prone to car crashes. You're prone to mental illness. And the fact that you're put in this body without any consent whatsoever, you're just forced into it, but you don't have an easy way out, is just, in my opinion, ludicrous and sickening. And society really needs to work towards a world where the right to die is, where euthanasia clinics specifically are accessible and available, because it's not like euthanasia is like, curing cancer or something costly. It's very simple and it's very doable, and it should be accessible, but unfortunately it's not. And even in places where it is, it's very expensive, it's very limited, and so on. I mean, one of the most ironic things I find is that it doesn't take any sort of qualifications to have a child, to force someone into the world, but the amount of qualifications and money that's needed to just opt out of life is massive, and there's always people against it, and it's very backwards to me. So I think if you value human freedom, the right to die is one of the most important things that you should prioritize.
Well said. And where can people find you online?
You can just find my Facebook. My name's Alex Berciulli. You can find me on Facebook. That's the only social media I use. And this is a really cool shirt I got from Matt. Let me just find it. So this one it says enjoy child-free. So if you go child-free, you'll be a lot happier and you'll spare people from a lot of harm.
And let's see what you
And
got.
this is an antinatalist jacket that Diane made me, and it has a lot of antinatalist messages on it. It's a really cool jacket, and I like it so much.